Hi, everyone. We are very excited to be here with you today. Today is the second anniversary of the Still Project. And so we're having our own little Google Hangout birthday
Yay!
party for our second birthday. And it's just Jonathan and I today. Um,
Yay!
One of the things we realized when we were talking about what we were going to do this year is that we've never actually done sort of a State of the Union, to kind of give you an overview of what we've done in the past 2 years and where we're headed. So that's really our intention today. Before we get into that, though, what I want to do first and foremost is give a huge thank you to all of you who are watching, to all of you who have supported us financially, emotionally, with messages of encouragement, who have come to our events, who have helped us put together our promotional videos. There's been so many people all across the world that have come together to make the Still Project what it is today and to give us the opportunity to do what we want to do moving forward. And so I can never thank you enough. I know on behalf of Jonathan and myself, we both feel incredibly grateful to have the support of so many wonderful people. So I just want to say thank you for making all of this possible. This really is an effort from you and from everyone around you. So thank you for
Thank,
that.
thank you.
And in getting started, what I thought we would do is maybe have Jonathan talk a little bit about the beginnings of the Still Project. We're saying today that it's our second birthday, but in actuality, the Still Project is something that has been brewing and sort of in idea and concept has been there under the surface for the last almost 13 years. So we've had the idea for a documentary film. We've had the idea for the name. We've had all of these things for so many years, but it really wasn't until 2 years ago that some events came into place to get us started. So, John, why don't you tell them a little bit about that?
Sure. Like you said, you know, we're here celebrating 2 years of existence with this project specifically, but ever since, Elena was born in 2002, uh, we've always wanted to play our role and do our part. And we knew that this was one way that we could offer our talents and our skill sets to, those abroad who have experienced the situation as we have. But just really in short, in 2010, I remember having a lot of anxiety about how we were going to celebrate Elena's 10th birthday. And it was uh, a big issue with me because you play it up in your head a lot and you want to honor your child in a certain way, and especially us, we've done so many things. We used to have the Shining Light Fund, um, and I was thinking about, but then I wasn't thinking about because jury duty came up, and that was the main spark. And your only focus when you're going to jury duty is how you're going to get out of it. So I drove to court and I made it through an entire day and got called back for a second day. Well, actually, at the end of the first day, I got called into a panel, and I found out right away that the case was having to do with a police officer that allegedly caused the stillbirth of the a woman, and the police officer was the defendant. And obviously, this resonated with me very strongly. And I sat there for an afternoon and listened to, the testimony and the jurors getting questioned. And we were released for that afternoon, and I said, well, thank God I didn't make it on that jury. And then I was called back the second day, and I had to be on the same panel. And I thought I made it down. I made it down to the last 3 or 4 jurors that were not questioned, and they swore in the jury of 12. And then they said we have to pick the alternates. So I made it into the jury box, and what ultimately happened was I spent about 10 minutes talking about my daughter and how I didn't think I'd be able to serve on that jury because of the nature of the case and the alleged brutality in the case. And I had a whole courtroom a judge and police officers and an already sworn-in jury, I had their attention, and I talked about my daughter. And I was just looking at the woman who was prosecuting this officer and thinking about her child. And she was looking at me because we obviously had that connection. And there was no way that I could sit on that jury. And they excused me very graciously. And when I was walking out of the jury room, I mouthed to the woman, I said, "I'm sorry." And I said it, mouthed it to the lawyer. And then I walked out and I saw her family. Obviously, this impacted with me greatly. And I came home and I knew that it was time to do something impactful and take a risk. And that was April, May of 2010. And here we are in June of 2012, right? I'm sorry.
Yes, 2012, yeah.
April, May 2012, and here we are 2 years later. And so much has happened. And it's funny because we talked about preparing for even this Google Hangout. And it's very emotional to think about all the people and all the things that we've done in these 2 years, because often with Still Project, we're in a very great supporting role within this lost community. And we try to facilitate a lot of things and connect a lot of people and help out where we can, whether it's with Return to Zero or with just communicating information to people that need information, whether it's on bereavement or medical issues or legislation or just pure advocacy around the issues that surround SIDS and stillbirth and miscarriage and all of the different ways that we lose babies. But it's such an honor, and I know we have very clear stated goals within this being a media and documentary project, but it encompasses so much more. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Carrie? I mean, just in reflecting the past 2 years of everything.
Well, I think it's interesting. I've always said, and this applies to a lot of things in my life, and I think to everyone basically, that your plan B often ends up being even better or grander or more robust than your plan A. And plan A for us coming out the gate was a documentary feature film, because that's what we knew. That's, career-wise, that's what we knew. Experience on prior projects. That's what we thought would be the best way to, to go forward with this. And so the original mission and goal was always, we're going to make a feature film. And obviously, over the past 2 years, with people that we've met, relationships that have developed, experiences that we've had, places that we've gone, there have been so many amazing connections that each seem to lead to the next connection. And what's come along with that has been an evolution, I think. Part of that is it's not just because, we can say, oh, well, we haven't raised enough money to make a feature film, or, oh, schedules haven't aligned or whatever, but a lot of it has been because we've learned so much. And one of the things we've learned are what are the true needs out there. And will a documentary feature film serve best those true needs? And so, just what's evolved for us over the past couple of years, specifically over the last year, since we did our last big public fundraiser, is we had to take a look at, okay, where are we? And how much further do we have to go? And, I'll tell you, every day, I know, people in the film industry know this to be true. Every single day there are hundreds of independent films that get shelved because they haven't raised enough money, or they can't get the schedules together, or whatever the reason. And so when we looked at where we were and how much further we needed to go, we thought, well, we could shelve it, but then what happens, if you're shelving it and waiting for funding to come, is you're also shelving a whole year and a half of work and all of those stories and all of this incredible content and connection. And that doesn't really serve anyone. So we thought, what about, the other ways that we could move forward? And the short films, the concept of taking the individual stories we'd already captured and turning them into short films is what evolved from that decision. And so we're excited because we do have a number of short films already in progress, some of them very close to being done. And what that allows us to do is take all of the support that you out there in the community have given to us, all of your financial support and all of your emotional support, take that and start to utilize it in creative ways and in ways that can really impact people. Because the goal has always been to use communication to educate and to help people heal and to validate. And so I think that evolving from just focusing on a feature film to looking at all the options we have with the short films has really opened up a lot of doors for us, and that makes the future exciting because it gives people access to what we've been able to accomplish so far.
Yeah, totally. I talking on the short films is just, and I always talk to a lot of people about how media is changing, and our goal here is to get the information to people quickly, efficiently, professionally, do a really great job from top to bottom, whether it's continuing with our future effort, whether it's with the short films, whether it's with the Google Hangouts. It's just people can heal, and the messages from the medical community, the experts there, can get down to us and throughout the community faster, if we can be in that place to be the deliverer, or just even one of the portals to deliver that information. Me, my heart is after being creative and doing a really great job there, but the content here is just so important. And things are changing so quickly. You read things in the news every single day. You see things. I know that you pick up things from GAPS or pick up things from the CDC or pick up things on the World Health Organization globally. I think one of the aspects that we didn't realize would come to pass so quickly is how global the project is. How we talk to people from different countries on a daily basis. I can't explain that to anybody in my life here locally, whether we're talking to Natalie or to Kath in South Africa or Carly, obviously, but we're touching every time zone in every part of the globe every single day, let alone every single state when we're talking. I had a phone call with Kelly Farley the other day. I'm always texting with Jaime in Nashville with him and Elisa, and it's just phenomenal. It's weird that our friend base and our associate base has grown through this project, and we're just building these real relationships and at the same time doing something and doing work that is so important and impactful as helping grieving people heal and trying to ensure that less babies die in the future by any means that we're able to help in that process.
Yeah, and I think the short films, when we first had that idea, we discussed that they really do serve to that function, because eventually what we hope to have is a library of short films, beginning with the very first one, which many people out there have seen, Mia Lane, which is the first short film that we released. And then there will be others that come from different perspectives, a grandfather, a sibling, just various perspectives on the issue and on the relationships and the circumstances. And having something like that, having a library of stories like that available to the public is something that can open the door to all different kinds of conversations, just like we've been talking a lot about with Return to Zero. What's wonderful is that Mia Lane, being the first short film, is going to be included on the Return to Zero DVD, along with a number of other short films from other organizations from the community. And so that DVD is going to serve as a real tool for education, I believe. I think it's going to be out there circulating and used in educating the medical community, in grief support groups, providing healing and grief support that way. There's just going to be a number of uses for it, and so we're excited that Mia Lane is a part of that. But in addition to that, we have, a few other films, like I said earlier, that are pretty close to completion. We have to do a couple more interviews and tweak some things here and there, but we're hoping to be releasing some more short films as soon as we can. So I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. No, from my desk, because that's where all the footage sits, I don't mind sharing. We're really close first, I think, with Jessica Heredia, our friend here locally who we've come to know, who graduated from high school last year. And we followed her basically for a whole year in high school. That one is really close. We're really close with Cherokees, and that might take a little more time just because the wealth of information that some of these documentaries have, and this has to be really crafted really well. Obviously, we have Carly's, who we shot last year, and that's an exciting one, and then a lot of information we haven't shared there because we are the future of the Still Project. From me as a producer and a director standpoint is really letting other directors in on the deal and letting them share their talents and abilities. And we've started doing that with Carly's documentary in Perth simply out of necessity that we're not there. And we've been in talks with a director there. Her name is Leslie Askew, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful person. And we've started, her and Carly started connecting last fall, I believe. Is that Carrie?
Yeah, that's right.
And Leslie went to, what was the event that Leslie went to?
The August beach ceremony. So it
was in August then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have Leslie there on the ground there getting to know Carly, and that's really the secret behind these films, is really getting to know the people, and that's why they take so much time. Because when you have a relationship, the information that you get, same as with, from Mia Lane's example, you've known Jesse for how long now, Carrie? For 12 years?
12 years, yeah.
So Mia Lane is only so magnificent because we've known them for so long. And not to say the Still Project will take 12 years to do, but just the information is a lot is there. So, Leslie's there in Australia with Carly, and we're working on relationally and emotionally getting that project tied together. We have definitely enough footage to finish it, but we want to do it right, and we're going to get Leslie the funding there to finish that. So that's 3 right off the top. People we've already covered, obviously, in part, are Sean Hanish, Suzanne Pullen, who else, Carrie? Leroy Archuleta.
Yes, for the grandfather's perspective. And then we also still have a list of
Ricardo Irabarren and Milena, their family.
Yeah.
There's so many people we want to reach. We reached out to so many people, and we're going to follow through. We'll get there. In the meantime, we do have things growing, and we're just really paying attention to how to best grow the Still Project in any means necessary in these media vehicles, whether it's film or online conferences or going in person. We talked about that too, to have live Google Hangouts with certain people, and it's an interview. It's live. It gets posted to our archives here at Wheeling Conversations, and it's Still Project, and that would be an amazing thing as well.
I think the exciting thing for me is that the original mission, being a feature film, is very straightforward, and what's grown out of that is something much more creative, much more inspired than I ever thought possible. And that's really exciting, because I feel like that can reach so many more people in so many different ways, maybe ways that one feature-length film might not be able to. It provides access in a lot of different ways and in a lot of different places. And so I think I just want to encourage everyone, and again, thank you, because if it weren't for the stumbling blocks along the way. If it weren't for the relationships that we built along the way, we wouldn't have realized these things. We wouldn't have realized that there were these other creative opportunities to really make the Still Project live up to its name. Because, you know, I'm glad that out the gate we didn't say Still Film, that we actually called it Still Project, because that's really what it is. It's an umbrella project that encompasses a number of other small or smaller projects that can be working in different ways and with different people. And so in light of that, you know, we've talked about the short films. We also have some ideas about utilizing the raw footage of some of the interviews. And then we also have Healing Conversations, which is our newest joint venture with Project Heal and Carly Marie and Sam Dudley. And that, again, is just another way to expand the platform of communicating and opening the door to a number of different topics, maybe some that we wouldn't originally have planned to cover in a documentary film. But now that opens the door to, you know, having sort of, I like the way that you referred to it as like a clubhouse. It's a place where all different people can come together and talk about a wide variety of things. And sometimes those discussions are going to be about really difficult topics. Sometimes they might be a little bit more lighthearted. Sometimes they might be about creative projects. Sometimes they might just be about, you know, feelings surrounding the holidays. I mean, it could be anything. But that clubhouse exists as that platform. And it's a really amazing thing, I think, and something that we expect to see a lot of good things in the future for. So I'm excited about that as well.
No, I guess on that subject, what I would say is, you know, like, I have no doubt that Still will be a great film someday. But it has to be very tailored. It has to be a specific story. With these Healing Conversations and with the short films, we can explore these people so much more in depth and explore these issues so much more in depth. I mean, like we were talking about, you know, honestly, giving hangouts specifically to things like trisomy or Potter syndrome, or so we're addressing all these people. You know, incompetent cervix, as you know, we've been, you know, touched with, but it's these subjects and these people that need validation specifically. We can do that within the realm of an 88-minute feature film. You can't do that. You can't get really in depth to those things, but we can learn more about each other's circumstances, and we can follow the progression of science, of advocacy, of legislation, like with the Farley-Kruger bill and the Bereavement Act. Those things, we can be active in participating to make sure the positive changes happen, but also follow the news and the current events to make sure that we're all informed on how our community is changing every day. And I know you and I talked about a lot about the balance, and we've talked with a lot of the leaders in the community of the grief and the bereavement, but then also the advocacy, the legislation, and the medical. So that it's all a part of it, because the goal eventually is to heal the hurting hearts that are here today, you know, as we have been, but also prevent the babies from dying in the future by whatever means we can stop, whether it's SIDS or whatever. And there are progressions in those areas of medicine as well. So there are valid roles for all of these different media deliveries, from online chats to a featured theatrical film, for them to do their part and to have their part in the mission, in the goal, objective of Still Project, within whatever role that we're able to play, and whatever, because we're not everything. We're not the Mist Foundation. We're not Share. We're not First Candle. We're not the March of Dimes. We're not Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. But we reach out to all of those organizations and say, you know, how can we help? How can we help facilitate? How can we help you get the message out there? Because all of your missions and all of your organization's messages are so important and fill a certain role in the healing and in the change. Because that's what we want. We want the change. We don't want to do this anymore.
Exactly. And I think right now what I want to do is just kind of give everybody sort of bullet points of what to expect to see in the near and distant future. First and foremost, we're about a week out from the Return to Zero DVD coming out, which will have Mia Lane, our first short film on it. So
Right.
June 17th is when that DVD will be released, and it's already available for pre-order right now. But what you will see is me, Elaine, included there. Also included with that are in the credits of me, Elaine, on that disc, you will find the list of baby names for those who donated at the required levels. Those are included. You can also expect to see me, Elaine, in the future online with online access. You can expect to see release of additional short films of other stories. You can expect to see potentially some raw footage, maybe behind the scenes, or some raw footage interviews released at different times. Um, and you can expect to see a lot more to come from Healing Conversations, and a lot of new faces and new topics being covered there. So altogether, you can expect to see a really robust and abundant level of content from Still Project and all of our partners.
Can I talk about the raw footage a little bit? Because I forgot you cued me on that. I didn't talk about that a whole lot. I'll just
Sure,
talk
yeah.
about it for 30 seconds. So as far as releasing the raw footage, it won't be raw, like uncut. So because some of these interviews were 2 hours long, but maybe there will be longer streams. But in short, as I was mentioning earlier, we're not withholding any information. We're not withholding any content. We don't want to do that. We want these interviews to heal immediately. So we'll go through them, and as with Nora Lee's and with Jesse's interview from me and Lane, we're going to release larger chunks because those stories obviously are way bigger than a 15-minute film. So, as I mentioned, we've done interviews with Ricardo Iribarren, Leroy Archuleta, Jessica Heredia, Suzanne Poland, Cherokee Isle, uh, Jesse and Nora Lee. And so these are all like 2-hour interviews. They're really robust and strong. So we're going to get that. We'll figure it out. And we just really want to deliver to you guys because it's just amazing to sit down with these people. And that's why I want to keep going. And that's why I love my job and my life, because I get to sit down and talk to people and hear their heart. And that was, I said that in our initial video. You know, I want to listen. I want to hear what people have to say, and I want to give them a platform for sharing their heart, because everybody's heart matters, and everybody, what they have to share matters, and it can change my life, and it can change everyone's life for the better.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think in closing, what I would say is I think the evolution of the Still Project has proven and will continue to prove that there are a variety of ways to help bridge that gap of communication, the gap that we saw the need, which is a way for families who have experienced the death of a child, the death of a baby, to express themselves safely and honestly and you know, in an open manner, and as well facilitate people outside of this community to listen and to empathize and to feel a way to connect. One of the things that comes up all the time when, you know, in various discussions is that this can happen to anyone, and it really can, you know, and of course none of us wish for it to happen to anyone, but it really can touch your life, touch the life of someone close to you when you least expect it. And so I think by bridging that gap now and starting to build that bridge, we stand to help prepare our society to be more empathetic, to be more ready to provide grief support. We help the medical community be more ready to provide the type of support that families need in those situations. We just help ready everyone and prepare their hearts. And that's really the ultimate goal for me.
I agree. Now, just thank you to everyone for your support. It's been overwhelming and amazing. And I remember starting the Facebook page, and it was, yeah, I'd like texted Kristen Von Rotz and was like, okay, we're starting a Facebook page. And then like I was like, yeah, and one day we got 100 people. That was awesome. That was great. And now we're over 6,000, and I just can't be thankful for those people who have joined us along the way. And if you've stuck with us all these 2 years, that's just amazing. I can't stick with anything for 2 years. I've lowered attention span. But yeah, we're just, if there's anything I can communicate to everybody out there, um, what an amazing journey it's been for 2 years, from everything we've been able to do, and everybody we've been able to meet across the country and around the world. My life it will never be the same, never be the same again.
Yeah, I agree, and I echo those sentiments, and I also, again, just want to say a huge thank you to those who have donated toward the Still Project, to those who have supported us with their cheerleading, to those who have shown up at events to meet us and hug us and cry with us, to the companies that have come alongside and partnered with us to help donate toward our
Yeah,
cause, to
our board. Yes, thank
to
all of our
all of our
board.
board of advisors who have helped, provide suggestions and support to us along the way, to all of the partner organizations that have come alongside and said, we share your vision and we stand with you.
Yeah.
To every single one of you, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And I think we have some really exciting things in store, specifically because we are standing together. And so I just want to thank you for that.
All right, is that it?
I think that's it.
Well, thank you, everybody. And I said thank you.
Happy second birthday to us.
Happy second birthday. Stick with us. Find us online. See you. Bye.
Bye.